What if there was a way to invest like the rich and get access to alternative assets? No need to wish anymore. Blackstone has answered our prayers with BXSL. This is a business development company that is managed by Blackstone, the largest alternative asset manager in the world. Now, this BDC has been around since 2018 and has primarily first lien senior secured debt of private US companies. We will talk a little bit more about what that actually means later in the video. Now, since they are managed by Blackstone, and don't be confused by Blackstone and the very similarly named, also world domination company, BlackRock. They're like a distant cousin. They're both in the world domination industry, but they're not the same, even though they have the same prefix of black and a suffix of a mineral. Now, being an investor in BXSL, that means we're getting access to all the relationships the company of Blackstone has built, and they've built a lot over the years, and we're getting that expertise as well. Now, did I mention this company also pays some really big dividends, and there's also a chance at some capital appreciation. It really is the best of both worlds. Now, think of private credit as a way for companies to borrow money, but instead of going to a bank or selling bonds on the stock market, they get it from other big investment firms like Blackstone. When BXSL lends money to companies, it charges them interest. The companies pay this interest on a regular basis, just like you would pay interest if you took out a loan. Now, the higher the interest rate, the more money BXSL earns. Now, since Blackstone secured lending focuses on secured loans, they usually charge a higher interest rate because the companies they lend to might be a little bit more riskier, but the collateral or assets that make up the loan, they're safer for the fund. Now, private credit has historically provided low volatility and strong relative returns. The big banks after the financial crisis, they're very picky on who they give loans to, which means there's a lot of people out there that are being ignored from the traditional banking services that BDCs, they fill that need for. Now, this sector may have nearly $4 trillion in addressable market for private credit. So that's a lot of business deals that Blackstone secured lending can do in the future. 98.7% of their investments are first lien senior secured. That is great news. And what does that mean? This means that if the company goes bankrupt, the company that's trying to pay back the loan, if it can't pay back its debts, the loans from BXSL will get paid back first before any assets that company has. BXSL has first claims to it. They get paid back first before anyone else. The lien part of it is like a legal claim on the company's assets. The first means that BXSL is first in line to get money back from whatever the company owns. Now, the senior part means that Blackstone secured lending's loans are considered more important or higher priority than other types of loans that the company might have. The secured part, well, this means that BXSL's loans are backed by something valuable, like property or equipment. If the company can't repay, BXSL then can take and sell those assets to recover its money. This is like when the repo man comes knocking on your door. The fact that nearly 99% of their loans are first lien senior secured has me sleeping pretty well at night in case of the catastrophic doom that may happen. After all, I do need my dividends to pay for my living expenses if I hope to retire off dividends one day. Some of their main industries that they're doing lending to include software at 18%, healthcare providers and other services at 10%. They also have professional services at 9%. Whatever the heck that means. I mean, that's as ambiguous as you can get, like professional services. And then it doesn't appear any single issuer makes up more than 3%. Even Snoopy Bidco is only 3%. Now, when I first Googled to check what Snoopy Bidco was, Google first suggested that I meant the bird that hangs out with Snoopy from Peanuts. His name is Woodstock. BXSL has 252 different companies in their portfolio. Taking a look at their recent financials, they actually just had record net investment income. That's always a positive sign. And BXSL doesn't just hand out money to anybody who asks. They have a very strategic process in which they do deals with. After all, they are managed by Blackstone. They have a non-accrual rate of just 0.2%. That is significantly lower than the BDC standard of 2.8%. Now, what is a non-accrual rate? Well, this is just the percentage of a lender's total loans that have stopped paying interest, typically because the borrower is behind on their payments or facing financial trouble. This is kind of similar to when we look at REITs and we look at occupancy rate and we look at how many of their tenants are paying rent. We like to see that at a higher number, but for non-accrual rate, we want that number to be as low as possible. All right, guys, now let's talk about dividends, what you really care about. Right now, they have a dividend yield of about 9.2%, which is really, really good. Just keep in mind the average S&P 500 return historically is 7 to 10%, but we're potentially getting that in just dividends. Now, when we go to their dividends, we can see since their IPO in 2021, they have paid regular quarterly dividends. They've paid a few special dividends in 2022. So they started off with 53 cents as a regular dividend, and today that has ballooned to 77 cents. They went from 70 cents to 77 cents in their most recent dividend raise that happened in September of 2023. So this is a great dividend paying BDC. Regarding those special dividends, just remember that when interest rates fall, which interest rates will most likely fall in the future, the income BDCs generate from floating rates loans also decreases, and that could potentially lead to lower revenues. So special dividends, while they are nice, I wouldn't exactly always bank on them. They're just gravy on top. Now, if you're wondering about the dividend safety, it's gonna be pretty safe. In their most recent quarter, they had a regular dividend coverage of 118%. That means for every $1 in dividends that they paid out, they earned $1.18 in profit. So these are not dividends, these are dividends. Looking at BXSL's chart, we can see since their inception, they are up nearly 16%. Not bad at all. In 2022, they did go down a little bit, just like the rest of the stock market, but they have recovered ever since. And maybe one day they'll get back to their all-time high of $37.64. But as long as those dividends just keep on coming in, I'm gonna be pretty happy. So no NAV erosion here since their IPO nearly 4 years ago. BDCs are some of the most underrated sectors in all of the stock market, but we have a very powerful company like Blackstone propping this one up. I expect more good things in the future. Let's thank the Patreons who make this all possible. Thank you to David C., Gabriel S., Brian H., Cyphers, Sevend F., I probably butchered that one, Adrian P., David K., gotta thank David K. twice, Doug B., Kim K., the very fine Kim K., Joaquin, Amy S., Ricardo C. Thank you guys so much for your continued support.
Wow, so your wife actually watch me too? And like, wow, that's amazing.